As you clearly saw on the topic of this video, I'm pretty sure it caught your attention. However, I will let you know right now, this video isn't about trashing the LGBTQ community, but it's going to be pointing out facts in the sense that the LGBTQ community isn't oppressed by any means. Now the media tells us about how the LGBTQ community is oppressed, how they're struggling to be just be left alone in society, be living in peace, pretty much, right? They make us believe that the LGBTQ community is one of the most weakest and most oppressed communities out there, and yet in reality, they're one of the most powerful organizations, one of the most powerful communities, and I'm going to tell you why. There used to be a time when the LGBTQ community was pushing for let our private matters stay private. It shouldn't be the government's business. Of who we make love to behind closed doors. And I used to agree with that as well. I have a lot of gay friends. A few friends of mine in the past have come out as gay, and I didn't have a problem with that. I'm not homophobic by any means. If a man wants to have sex with a man, by all means, go on right ahead. But there used to be a time when being gay was just a matter of between yourself and the person that you were in a relationship with. But now, being tolerant isn't enough anymore. Being gay about who you want to have sex with, who you want to make love to, it's not a matter of being private anymore. You have to be flamboyant. You have to be open about it. You have to show you are open to accept all these people. Kevin Hart, by all means, is not a homophobe. And I'll tell you this right now. Based from how he is, sure, there was some controversy in him making a joke about his son being gay, but I can tell this guy isn't a homophobe. I can tell that he couldn't care less about who does who in the bedroom. Okay, I'm pretty sure he couldn't care. So what does Kevin Hart do? When a rapper by the name of Little Nas X or something, I think that's how you pronounce it, when he comes out as gay and Kevin Hart says, "So what?" People lose their minds. People lose their minds. Why? Because Kevin Hart isn't showing support, isn't showing enthusiastic support. He says, "You do you, I do me, and we won't do each other." That's pretty much what he says. And then what does the community does? Kevin Hart isn't saying that Little Nas X should be executed or anything like that. He isn't saying any homophobic slurs or he isn't even slandering Little Nas X. He's just saying, okay, so what? And what does the LGBT community do? They say, "Well, that's outrageous. What do you mean? So what? He's supposed to be, supporting Little Nas X for being gay. He's supposed to be gay. Hooray, good for you. He's supposed to throw him a party." And that's not supposed to be. But the problem is that now isn't just about tolerance. Because tolerance is simply saying you put up with something. For example, you tolerate a bad cold, right? Tolerate a bad cold. You tolerate a kid who's throwing a temper tantrum at the supermarket. You tolerate it. But now it isn't about just tolerance. It's about acceptance. And here's the thing: when it came to my classes for education as a teacher, one of my professors told me that nowadays it isn't about tolerance. You also have to accept your kids. So, and I don't have anything wrong with these kids in general. Obviously, I'm going to support them. If they want to learn, I'm going to help them. I'm not going to discriminate against my students because of who they like or what they feel like or who they want to smash in the bedroom. I don't care about that. If they want to learn, I will help them. But the problem is that now we're being told that accepting these students is also a mandate. It's not just about tolerance, but also accepting them. Literally, feeding them these things about it's okay to, identify yourself as a toaster or a helicopter. You know what I mean? It's not a matter of simply staying quiet anymore. It's like, okay, you do you, I do me, and that's about it. Now they want us to simply say, "Oh, well, that's good for you. Good for you, fantastic. Hey, everyone, so-and-so identifies as a toaster." And that's the problem. The LGBT community, like I said in the title of this video, they're not as weak as they claim to be. And I'm going to show you why in this article. I said, Kevin Hart is being slammed by the left because he doesn't care that Little Nas X is gay. He's not saying that that the rapper should be done all these horrible things, but Kevin Hart isn't showing the enthusiasm of a guy coming out as gay. And this is why and obviously once I'm done with this article, I'm going to read parts of it because the video isn't about just Kevin Hart. But it's a matter of how the LGBTQ community portrays itself as weak, when in reality, they're incredibly powerful. So the article is from NBC News. So again, it's 4 days old, so a little dated. But again, the subject of the video is not the article. But it's the matter of the fact of the power the LGBTQ community has. So, Kevin Hart slammed for comments he made to Lil Nas X on rapper coming out as gay. Kevin Hart didn't learn from his past. Clearly, why they set Lil Nas up like that? One Twitter user wrote, Kevin Hart, who previously faced backlash over remarks deemed homophobic, is coming under fire for commenting on Lil Nas X as the rapper explained why he waited publicly to come out gay. In an episode of HBO Sports The Shop Uninterrupted, the rapper was asked about his coming out, which he did in a tweet on the last day of Pride Month in June, as his song "Old Town Road" topped the country charts. The song stayed atop the Billboard Hot 100 list for a record-smashing 19 weeks. Before Lil Nas X could offer an explanation, Hart chimed in to ask. He said he was gay. So what? And that's the only thing he said. So what? So what if he's gay? The guy's, again, I never heard of Lil Nas X music, but if the guy has good music, I will judge him based on his music. I will like him because of his music. If he's gay, so what? He just happens to be a black musician who also happens to be gay. Being gay shouldn't be something that, hey, you know what? That's a big deal. No. Being gay, being your sexual orientation, who you want to smash in the bedroom, shouldn't be a matter of public interest. It's a matter of for you, your significant other, and that's the problem now. The LGBTQ community used to be about the government shouldn't tell us what we should do in the private and what we should do in private. But when you make things public, then they're no longer private. And this is when it comes to social media and stuff like that. Mom always says, don't complain about people finding out things you post on Facebook, Twitter, and all that, and all the forms of social media. The moment you put yourself out there, it's not a matter of privacy anymore. Because if you choose to make certain private things public, then they're not they're not private anymore, and you have no right to complain about how they're making fun of your private life when you yourself exposed it to the public. Now, Kevin Hart, like I said, he just said, so what? What's the big deal of him coming out as gay? And the people are going after him because of this. And here's the thing, like I said in the video, topic is, the LGBT community is not as weak as it claims to be. And here's why. And I'll give you a few examples. I'm pretty sure this video will be disliked, and it will be, pretty sure it will be taken down, because YouTube wants to prop up the LGBT community, even though they don't need that level of propping up. Example number one. If the LGBTQ was as weak as they claim to be, they wouldn't remove Kevin Hart from the Oscars. Their level of influence would have never led to Kevin Hart stepping down from the Oscars. That's one example. If the LGBTQ community is as weak as they claim to be, Kevin Hart would have hosted the Oscars. He would have never stepped down. But the LGBT community has that level of power. They just put up one tweet, or they just put out one protest, or one level of outrage. And guess what happens? They're able to end the person's career. They're able to make a man step down over one tweet, over one joke he made over 8 years ago, 7 years ago, right? So if the LGBT community was as weak as they claim to be, Kevin Hart would not have stepped down from the Oscars. If the here's a second example. If the LGBTQ community was not as weak as they claim to be, Steven Crowder would still be monetized on YouTube to this day. But no, all it took is one gay man by the name of Carlos Maza to tweet on Twitter and go and show up a huge outrage about how Steven Crowder is homophobic and he's anti-LGBTQ. And guess what happens? YouTube bends the knee to the LGBTQ community, and guess what happens? Steven Crowder is now demonetized. Again, if the LGBT community was weak, as they claim to be, YouTube, a massive organization like YouTube, a company like YouTube, wouldn't have bended the knee to such a little quote-unquote weak group. Because again, if the LGBTQ community, if it was as weak as they claim to be, they wouldn't have bended the knee. YouTube would have never bended the knee. Okay? And here's the lie that we're always spoon-fed, that we're always told by the media. The LGBTQ is oppressed. LGBTQ, is oppressed. It's a weak community. We need to help them. No. They're powerful. They're so powerful. They're able to literally topple organizations because of one little rant, because they're not openly supportive of the LGBTQ community. It wasn't about simply saying, not caring at all. Oh, there's two gay men making out. Okay, I'm gonna turn the other cheek, and I'm gonna mind my own business. But now, in 2019, if you see two gay men or two women or whatever, or any member of the LGBT community, if you see an LGBTQ couple making out in public, It isn't enough to just say, oh, I'm gonna mind my own business. Instead, you know what they want you to do? They want you to say, oh my God, two gay men making out. Oh, I'm gonna post this up on Twitter and say, oh, this is true love right here. Oh my God, look. Oh my God, the LGBTQ community, it's such a wonderful time we live in where two men are able to kiss in public. That's what they want. It isn't about simply saying, "Oh, you know, I'm gonna mind my own business." No, they want you to focus your attention on them, and there lies the problem. The LGBTQ community is not as weak as they claim to be. They are powerful. They're powerful to the point where they're able to make organizations bend the knee to every whim because they believe they're oppressed when in reality there's not. Kevin Hart just said, "So what? He's gay. So what?" In 2008, it would have been fine. It was like, well, yeah, that's true. That's true. He's just minding his own business. He's doing his. Kevin Hart is doing him. Lil Nas X is doing him. Doesn't matter, right? It's okay. He come out as gay. No one's trash talking the rapper. No one's trash talking him. So that's good. But now it's not just a matter of being trash talking to gay people anymore. You have to be openly supportive. If not, you are a homophobe. You're assumed to be a transphobe or a homophobe. You're anti-LGBTQ if you do not voice your support to the LGBTQ community. And again, that's the problem. Cancel culture, a lot of shows, a lot of people have been removed from shows, a lot of shows canceled for their lack of inclusivity of the LGBTQ community. Look at Marvel. The LGBTQ community is so powerful, they're literally pushing Marvel to include LGBTQ characters. They were literally pushing for Steve Rogers, Captain America, and Bucky Barnes to be a gay couple. Look at Valkyrie from Thor Ragnarok, if you saw her in Thor Ragnarok. Valkyrie, I think she's a badass character in the comics. I didn't really care about her gender or her sexual orientation. But what happens? They make her bisexual because they want to pander to the LGBTQ community. They want to bend the knee because they know that if they do not, the LGBTQ community is going to come at them at full force and they're going to take everything down with them. Again, dislike the video all you want, but I just want you to understand, if the LGBTQ community was as weak as they claim to be, they wouldn't have the level of leverage that they have on the majority of Hollywood and the entertainment industry. Again, if the LGBTQ community was weak, Kevin Hart would have hosted the Oscars. He wouldn't have needed to step down. He wouldn't have needed to apologize for 6 weeks because of something he said in the past. If the LGBTQ community was as weak as they claim to be, then one gay man would have not been able to convince a powerful organization like YouTube to demonetize another YouTuber. This is what I want you to think. You can disagree if you want. Again, I welcome disagreement. If you think my opinion isn't true, but I just want you to consider. I don't believe in victimization. Whenever I'm told that I'm a victim, I do not like hearing that because in the end of the day, I'm pretty sure I'll have more privilege than the white male next door. Why? Because nowadays, the real victims of this whole society when it comes to the leftist ideology, the white people, white men, white females, the white race are the true victims of what everything is going on now. But for the left, diversity doesn't mean equal, some blacks, some whites, some Hispanics, some Chinese, some Korean. That's not diversity to them. To them, diversity means less whites. Because look, for example, I'll give you a good example. Black Panther, right? Black Panther, the left was saying, oh, it's so diverse, it's so diverse. Black Panther is not diverse. It's not. Why? Because the majority of people on the screen were black. Sure, they had black people in the movie, but it's not even close to diverse. Not even close. If Black Panther was really diverse, it would have had some black people, some Hispanics, some whites, some Chinese, some Koreans, some Native Americans, but no. Black Panther was far from diverse. It had the majority of the cast was black. So it's not diverse by any means. I'm not saying that an all-black movie is bad either. I kind of like Black Panther. I thought it was too overhyped. But again, it's not diversity by any means. For the left, diversity means less whites, less cisgender, and again, cisgender is what non-trans people. But I'm saying as it is. Less straight whites, less straight white males, less straight white females, and more LGBTQ, more minorities. And I'll tell you this right now, coming from a Hispanic, I honestly feel more privileged than the white man next to me. Because that's what the left wants. They want victims, so-called victims, to be more powerful than the so-called oppressors. When in reality, as I see it right now, the white people are more oppressed than any of us right now. Because every time when there's a white male lead, Guess what happens? They complain. Look at what happened with Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Sure, it's an EA game, but guess who got mad about the whole idea about the protagonist being white? The left. The left, the black community, the Hispanic community, the LGBT community, they got mad over the fact that the main character of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was a white male. That's what they got mad about. And I tell you right now, like I said, you can disagree, and I'm gonna conclude this with for you to think about this, okay? Any organization will bend the knee to the LGBTQ community. That's a fact. YouTube did it. The Oscars did it. Now, as of right now, Toronto, a Chick-fil-A opened in Toronto. There's a lot of protesters trying to shut down the Chick-fil-A over the fact that over the fact of their religious practices, their religious customs. No community is as powerful as the LGBTQ community. And again, here's another example. When you criticize a member of the LGBTQ community, you're deemed as homophobic. Look at Drag Queen Story Hour. Now, for me, I wouldn't care less if men wanted to dress up as women and weak to children. I couldn't care less. I couldn't. But the left is going to say, Carlos doesn't care about Drag Queen Story Hour, therefore he's homophobic, he's transphobic, he's anti-LGBTQ. No. Is that they'll do their business and I'll mind my own business. I don't care. If I want to take my kid to Drag Queen Story Hour, then it's my business. And if I don't, then again, it's my business. But the LGBT community will criticize anyone who dare criticizes any member of their community. And guess what's going to happen? People will lose their jobs. Businesses will close. Organizations like YouTube are going to bend the knee and demonetize a lot of people over the fact that one gay man managed to demonetize an entire YouTube channel. Not to mention demonetized a lot of channels in the wake. Again, if the LGBT community was weak as they claim to be, no organization would bend the knee to them. But they're powerful. And the left wants us to believe that they're not. I'll give and finally another final example. Adolf Hitler. Now I'm not comparing the Nazis to the LGBT community in the sense that they're alike, in the sense of they're different. No, Hitler did hate the LGBT community, but the methods are similar. The LGBTQ community says that they're oppressed, that they're weak, that they need help from everyone, right? Guess who said those exact same words? Hitler did. He said, the Germans are weak, we are oppressed, we must stand up. But if the Germans were really weak, they wouldn't have had the stormtroopers. They wouldn't have been in power. Let's say, I don't know, the government of Germany. If the Germans were really weak, Hitler wouldn't have been able to carry out what he did, which led to the genocide of over 6 million people. Now, I'm not saying the LGBT community is pushing a genocide by any means, but the methods are very similar. They claim to be victims. They claim to be weak, but in reality, they have a lot of power. Look at Kevin Hart. He stepped down from the Oscars because he was afraid of the organization in general. If the LGBTQ community was so weak, Kevin Hart would have said, screw you all, I said what I said, it's in the past, and I'm still hosting these Oscars. But no, he stepped down and decided to apologize to the community because he knows that you do not insult the LGBTQ community unless you have a death wish. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think the LGBTQ community is really weak as they claim to be? Or do you think they like to claim to be weak in order to catch their enemies off guard, and then that way they're able to bend the knee and then and then subject to the power of the LGBT community? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button as well, and also at the same time hit the notification button as well, that way you never miss an upload. But the best thing you can do, and I said in every video, is share the video. But I really want you to respond to the question. Is the LGBTQ community oppressed like they claim to be? And if so, why do you believe that? And if you believe they're powerful while claiming to be weak, also let me know as well. Okay, this is going to be the first video, and the second one's going to be about the cancel culture and what I think of the cancel culture is regarding to ContraPoints. Again, this happened 2 days ago, but I think this is something in general that we need to be discussed about cancel culture in general, not just about ContraPoints itself, but how cancel culture has become a virus rather than a movement. Okay, but again, this is going to be for the next video. If you like this video, like I said, hit the like button and share the video. That's the best thing you can do, and I very much appreciate it. But honestly, I want to hear your opinions in the comment section below about this, because this is starting to get out of hand, and the LGBT community needs to start realizing that they're actually the oppressors in this case. They're the ones who have the power. They're not powerless. They're powerful. And we need to let everyone know out there, from me to you to any one of our relatives to everyone in the world, that the LGBT community is powerful. They're not powerless. Okay? If you guys can stick around for the next segment, again, I'll see you guys in a little bit. But if you cannot, hopefully you'll be able to see the next segment on your own time.